had the same type of run, if not more phenomenal than Dre in this present era.
He did.
We've never seen nothing like that happen.
Drake has to be in the top 5.
If you're not putting Drake in the top.
Jim randomly saying I'm better than Nas isn't just ego, it's bait. It triggers the internet. It's meant to go viral. Jim hasn't been in headlines for music in years, and suddenly he's everywhere. That's not an accident, that's marketing disguised as beef. Drake just made a bold move by throwing his full support behind Jim Jones right after. Jim stirred up controversy by claiming he's better than Nas. But don't be fooled. Drake's sudden alliance with Jim isn't just about friendship. It's fueled by something sharper: revenge. Here's what's really going on. Drake assumed things were still cool between him and Nas until Pusha T dropped the bombshell. Nas would be featured on the upcoming Clips album. That announcement hit Drake like a sucker punch. He didn't just feel slighted, he felt betrayed. And instead of brushing it off or keeping things quiet, Drake made a power play. He aligned himself with the very person taking shots at Nas. Jim Jones. Jim has been going hard at Nas while much of the rap world distanced itself from him for the disrespect. But not Drake. He leaned in, gave Jim a megaphone. Now Jim's running with it, hyping Drake like never before, calling him the greatest to ever touch a mic. Better than Nas, better than Havoc, better than everyone. It's starting to sound like fan fiction, and that's not even the most surprising part. Jim's now standing tall beside Drake in his legal fight against Universal Music Group. Yep, Drake is suing his own label for allowing Kendrick Lamar to drop Not Like Us. And Jim's out here spinning it like Drake's taking a stand for the culture. What we're witnessing isn't just rap beef, it's a strategic partnership built on chaos and controversy. While much of the industry clowns Drake for lawyering up after losing a lyrical war, Jim Jones is still in his corner, riding hard like he's on salary. This isn't just music, drama, it's a chess match with real stakes.
Recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
Yeah, that's my young boy.
big hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying, Nas is like a god.
In my era too. I mean,
So to
well,
be compared-
Yeah, but let me
that young kid out.
He was young, and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break it down.
Let's break this down.
Let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I want to go there.
Hold on.
I want to go down the line now because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I want to go statistically because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
And forget about the numbers. There's nothing that could. There's never is me. Putting me up against anybody. I'm taking me every time. Every time.
Supposed to.
Okay, but let me say something though, Jim. Let me say.
People are starting to question, is this Drake and Jim Jones alliance the real deal, or just a clout-chasing circus? Is it loyalty, or are they just pulling strings to stay in the spotlight? Let's peel it back. Jim Jones didn't just stir the pot, he dumped gas on the fire when he boldly claimed he's better than Nas. And no, he wasn't trolling. He said it with his chest, like it was undeniable truth. The internet exploded. But did Jim walk it back? Not a chance. He doubled down, even crediting himself for making Nas go viral again as if his diss was some kind of favor. Jim Jones versus Nas. The internet roasts a self-comparison gone wrong. Jim Jones might have thought he was just stirring the pot a little when he compared himself to Nas, but what he unleashed was a digital firestorm. In an industry built on ego and bravado, bold statements are nothing new, but some comparisons are simply off. This was one of them. In a now infamous interview, Jim Jones made what many considered an outrageous claim, that he had more cultural impact than Nas, and even implied he helped revive Nas's career during a slower period in the legendary rapper's discography. The moment those words left his mouth, social media erupted and, not in the way Jim probably hoped. Fans weren't having it. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Twitter, Instagram, Cheeky-Talkie. Every platform had something to say, and none of it was kind. People weren't just dragging Jim for the comparison, they were angry. This wasn't just about music anymore. This was about legacy, respect, and what fans see as sacred in hip-hop culture. Blasphemy was the word that got tossed around the most, delusion was another. Memes exploded across the internet within hours. One viral tweet read, "Jim Jones saying he revived Nas is like Ja Rule saying he coached Kendrick. Others weren't so nice. Nas isn't just a rapper, he's hip-hop royalty." What Jim Jones seemed to forget, or perhaps underestimated, is that Nas isn't just another name in the rap game. He's revered. From Illmatic to King's Disease, Nas has not only maintained relevance but redefined longevity. His lyricism is studied. His impact, generational. For hip-hop heads, Nas is sacred territory. He's not someone you casually compare yourself to, especially if your career, while respectable, doesn't come close in terms of cultural or artistic legacy. It didn't matter what coast you rep or what era you came up in when Jim tried to place himself on Nas's level. Fans across the board reacted with a unified "NA, how dare you?" offense over laughter. This wasn't just a case of fans disagreeing with a hot take. People were offended. Like, how dare you offended? It felt, too many, like a line had been crossed, like Jim was trying to rewrite history in real time, and expect people to go along with it. You could almost hear the collective scoff from hip-hop listeners. For every handful of people defending Jim's contributions to Dipset or New York rap, there were thousands more asking if he'd lost his mind. The punchline heard around the internet soon: Nas or Jim Jones. Wasn't even a debate, it became a meme, a joke, a go-to punchline. Late-night hosts, radio personalities, and reaction channels all jumped on it. TikTok flooded with clips of fans mocking the comparison, acting out fake debates where one side dramatically stormed off in disbelief. One chick, lip-syncing with a straight face, said Jim Jones got better bars than Nas, only to be dramatically slapped by a friend off-screen. The video racked up millions of views in a day. YouTube reactors broke it down frame by frame. "Let's be honest," said one. Jim had We Fly High. Nas had Ether. One was a ringtone, the other was a cultural reset. Nas, silent but untouchable. Meanwhile, Nas didn't say a word. He didn't need to. That's the thing about legends, they don't have to engage with every slight. His silence only made Jim look more out of touch. Fans flooded Nas's Instagram with fire emojis and subtle nods, praising him for taking the high road, or maybe just being above it all. Even artists chimed in. Some subtly shaded Jim on Twitter. Others came out more directly, respectfully. "Y'all better stop playing with Nas's name," one rapper tweeted. Another added, "We need more rap elders acting like Nas, not chasing clout." Jim tries damage control and misses sensing the backlash wasn't dying down. Jim tried to clarify. In a follow-up interview, he insisted he was speaking from a place of respect, and that his comments were taken out of context. He doubled down on his belief that Dipset had a massive influence on the culture, and they did, but the damage was done by then. The internet had already decided. Jim Jones had played himself. What made it worse was his tone. There was no humility. No acknowledgement of Nas's standing in the game. Just bravado. And when you're comparing yourself to one of the most universally respected MCs of all time, fans expect receipts, platinum albums, lyrical masterpieces, longevity. Instead, they got bravado and vibes. Legacy versus hype. The entire situation sparked a bigger conversation. What is cultural impact? Is it chart positions, street influence, lyricism, fashion? For some, Dipset was the moment. Pink furs, swagger, anthems. Jim Jones absolutely had a run. But Nas transcended moments. He created moments, defined eras, and is still dropping Grammy-winning albums nearly 30 years in. The comparison felt like apples to sacred fruit. In the end, the culture speaks ultimately. Hip-hop is driven by the people, the fans, the critics, the barbershops, the streets, and when they speak loudly. In this case, they shut the door on Jim's comments with brutal precision. The lesson? In hip-hop, respect matters. Legacy matters. And some names, like Nas, aren't for clout chasing or careless comparison. They're monuments. Jim Jones is part of the culture, but Nas is the culture. And no viral clip, no hot take, is changing that, and the numbers don't lie. Nas dropped Illmatic at 20 and he's still racking up Grammys in his 40s. Legends like RZA compare him to Bobby Fischer, the chess prodigy, for how masterfully he plays the rap game. That's not hype, that's history. Nas isn't out here trying to prove anything, he's already carved in stone. Meanwhile, Jim's out here still pressing the issue, teasing interviews, stirring the pot, acting like the backlash is fuel instead of fire. But people are over it. One fan said it best. How you lose a beef you started when the other guy didn't even respond. Brutaland, true. Nas hasn't acknowledged Jim at all. No diss track, no tweet, no shade, nothing. It's like Jim doesn't even exist in his world. Just when it looked like things were winding down, Drake cannonballed into the he posted up with Jim like they were mob bosses, complete with cigars and cryptic captions. Men of respect. Mafia rules. Toast to the last ones left. Jim ate it up, Drake co-signed it. But fans weren't fooled. They lit up the comments, clowning the duo as the corniest rappers alive. And that's the thing, nobody believes Drake jumped in for the sake of brotherhood. This looks like pure strategy, clout-fueled, drama-hungry chess. The man loves the chaos and plays it like it's part of the game plan. So while the industry side-eyes Drake for supporting someone who disrespected a hip-hop icon, Drake leans in even harder, like he's trying to make a statement. But what that statement is, nobody's sure. Loyalty, spite, ego. Either way, it's clear. This beef is no longer just about bars. It's about image, power, and attention, and Drake and Jim are playing it like they're starring in their own viral saga. And Nas, still silent, still untouchable. Drake's obsession with staying in the spotlight isn't exactly breaking news. He's made a career out of maneuvering through controversy like it's an Olympic sport. The backlash, that's just fuel. The headlines, that's the point. And once again, he's making all the right moves to keep everyone watching. This latest alliance with Jim Jones, it didn't appear out of thin air. These two have history. When the Kendrick Lamar battle had Drake on the ropes and memes were flying like punches, Jim didn't flinch. He stood tall, riding with Drake when others laughed him off. While the industry mocked Drake for filing a lawsuit against Universal Music Group over Kendrick's Not Like Us, Jim called it a flex. A power play, something only someone playing the billion-dollar game would do. Jim's defense of the lawsuit wasn't about legal nuance, it was about optics. He painted Drake as someone playing chess while the rest of the rap world is stuck in checkers. He said Drake wasn't snitching, just suing the biggest company in the business to protect his brand. Why wouldn't I sue Amazon if I had the chance? Jim argued. To him, Drake's move wasn't weak, it was boss behavior. But that's where things got strange. In a recent interview, Jim didn't just support Drake, he praised him like a prophet. He said Drake's done more for the culture than most rappers alive. He even went so far as to call Drake his spirit animal. No, seriously, he said it out loud. Fans couldn't tell if it was admiration or straight-up obsession. At this point, people are asking, is Jim standing up for a friend, or just surfing the clout wave? To be fair, Drake has always shown love for Dipset. He's been name-dropping Cameron Juelz and Jim since his early days. In fact, back in 2023, Jim even dubbed Drake the honorary fifth member of Dipset. So yeah, there's some mutual respect there. But don't mistake this current alliance for some brotherhood forged in loyalty. This isn't about the streets. It's not about codes. It's about timing and control. Because here's what really lit the fuse. The moment Pusha T and Malice revealed the official track list for the long-awaited Clips album, the air shifted. And who's featured on track 12? Nas, the title. Let God sort him out, chandeliers. Hip-hop Twitter exploded. Fans lost their minds. And Drake. He moved fast. This wasn't emotional, it was surgical. Drake saw Nas linking with Pusha, his longtime rival, and he reacted. The way he always does, with a counter-strike. His show of unity with Jim Jones wasn't about Nas, it was about legacy. About staying relevant in a game that's evolving without him. Jim became a pawn, a loud one, in Drake's bigger chess match. And while fans tried to decode Nas's verse wondering if it's a diss, a message, or just art, Pusha confirmed in Rolling Stone that he's been chasing this collab for years. So no, this wasn't spontaneous. It was deliberate. It was layered. It was a long game finally unfolding. But the craziest twist. In a resurfaced interview, Pusha T made it crystal clear. There's no mending fences with Drake. The beef isn't about bars anymore, it's about betrayal, personal stuff, moves that went too far. That situation just went, and there's no coming back, he said. So here we are, Drake trying to rewrite the narrative. Jim playing hype man at full volume, and Nas doing what legends do, remaining silent, composed, and terrifyingly effective. The question now isn't just about who's right or wrong, it's about who's playing for power, and who's playing for history. because one thing is certain: Drake isn't letting go of his crown without a fight. Even if it means turning rap beef into courtroom strategy, and turning Jim Jones into his loudest, most unexpected weapon, ... drawn in the sand. Let's not sugarcoat it, Nas stepping onto the Clips album alongside Pusha T, Kendrick Lamar, and Pharrell isn't some innocent, coincidental feature. It's a clear positioning, and if you're Drake, it feels like betrayal wrapped in 808s and subtext. For a man who once hailed Nas as a pillar of the culture, this move stings badly, because this isn't just about music anymore, it's about alignment. Pushat. That's public enemy number one in Drake's book. The man exposed the secret sun, dismantled the carefully curated Drake brand, and did it with surgical precision. The story of Adidon wasn't just a diss, it was a cultural reset, and to this day, Drake has never really responded in kind. He withdrew, and he's admitted it, even tried to respond, but didn't like the man he became in the process. That's rare vulnerability from Drake, but also clear proof Pusha T got under his skin in ways few ever have. And now, Nas, the same Nas who Drake has openly respected, has not only endorsed Kendrick's warpath publicly, calling him king and inspiring, but he's now appearing on wax next to both Kendrick and Pusha. That's not just an endorsement, that's a declaration. And make no mistake, this isn't about a single feature or a cool verse. This is about legacy politics in hip-hop. Nas, one of the greatest to ever touch a mic, is choosing where he stands in the modern rap civil war, and it's not beside Drake. Why does this matter? Because for over a decade, Drake has been the guy, the charts, the influence, the features. He shaped the sound of a generation. But he did it while sidestepping real smoke. When beef got to personal Pusha, he bowed out. When it got to aggressive Kendrick, he deflected with meme-worthy bars and chart-toppers. But the tides shifted. Kendrick went scorched earth, Pushy's lining up his next chapter, and now Nas. He's not on the fence, he's in the trenches, and Drake knows it. He's not mad because Nas rapped on a good beat. He's mad because that one feature speaks louder than any diss track ever could. It says, "You're not the center of the universe anymore." And that's the part Drake may never admit, but it's clear as day. Hip-hop is moving, the culture is shifting, and the titans are picking sides. So now, the question is no longer whether Drake can drop another hit. He can, he always does. The real question is, will it matter as much if the legends start moving without him? Because in 2025, it's not just about who's charting, it's about who the culture rides with. And right now, Nas is riding with Kendrick, with Pharrell, not with Drake. That's not just music. That's a message. This reads like the final act of a hip-hop chess match, and Drake might be running out of safe moves. Let's break it down. Drake's pivot to defend Jim Jones out of nowhere during this Nas versus Jim tension wasn't random. It was reaction. The moment Nas aligned himself with the Clips trifecta Pusha T, Kendrick Lamar, and Pharrell, Drake saw it for what it was, a symbolic rejection. The respect he gave Nas, it wasn't reciprocated when it mattered most. And now he's playing defense by attaching himself to the only rapper bold enough to take shots at a legend. But here's the truth. No one's dancing around. Drake's never looked this out of place. For over a decade, he's been hip-hop's center of gravity. Whether you loved him or hated him, you couldn't not talk about him. But now, the cultural pulse is moving in a different direction, one rooted in bars, integrity, and legacy, and it's being led by artists he's clashed with or kept distance from. Kendrick aired him out on wax and shook the industry. Pusha T humiliated him publicly with facts. Pharrell kept quiet but distant ever since the Adidon cover was used. Now Nas, a hip-hop elder statesman, is breaking bread with all three on a project fans are calling lyrical warfare. So when Drake aligns with Jim Jones, a rapper more known for street presence than lyrical warfare, it's not strategy, it's survival. It's him yelling from the sidelines while the real war generals circle up for battle. And what's wild, Nas hasn't said a word. That's silence. That's power. That's what it looks like when you know your moves are bigger than noise. Meanwhile, Drake is spiraling. Not musically, he'll still chart, he'll still sell, but culturally, he's losing grip. Because hip-hop isn't just about numbers anymore. It's about who you stand with, who you stand against, and what you stand for. And right now, Nas, Pusha, Kendrick, and Pharrell are drawing a line in the sand, and Drake's on the other side of it, scrambling with Jim Jones in a battle he didn't start, can't control, and probably won't win. So yeah, if you're reading this, or watching it, or listening, war season's coming. And Drake needs more than a petty alliance or a viral bar. He needs a real pen, a real vision, and a real reason to step back into that arena. Because this next chapter, it's for the culture, not just the charts.